Hey everyone, finally got the tier list for Samkok New Force today. So we have Triple S, Double S, a Burn Baby tier, that's for a dedicated units for a burn team, SA, and then Food tier. So stick around to the end, we're explaining the skills of each unit so you can see why they're ranked where they are, and I give a little bit of extra info on a lot of the units. So all of these units are going to be food. You can't use them for anything else. Like when you first start the game, you can use them. Well, everybody's gonna be using them, but other than that, like in the first week or so, they're just food. You just use them to rank up to level up all the other good units. So before we get into the tier list, I just want to say if you are buying any packs in the game, make sure to check out my affiliate code from Aptoid, get you 10 to 30% back on your purchases, and then you can use that bonus you get back to just buy more stuff in the game. So if you're interested in it, there'll be a video in the description telling you how to use it, and let's get into the tier list. So first up, we got Sima Yi going into SS tier. He has an AoE that deals more damage if he has higher rage than the enemy, and he deals more damage if the target has over 50% HP. He also has a chance to not even use any rage when he uses his skill, and if his rage is above 4, he deals even more extra damage. Guo Jia is next up, going into S tier. He has an AoE that can restore 1 rage to an ally. His basic attacks can also restore 1 rage to an ally and then also steal a rage from an enemy. And if the ally has more than 2 rage, they get a damage buff as well. Xiaohu Dun going into A tier. His AoE gives him an Undispellable Glare, which is a damage reduction buff. He deals defense-based damage to attackers and gains 6 stacks of Glare at the start of the battle, and he reduces attackers' defense. He's a tank, and there's not much reason to have a tank in this game, with a couple exceptions because they're more useful than just having a tank. Zhang Lao is next up and going into Triple S tier. His AoE deals a lot of extra damage to enemies under 50% HP, and he gets a damage buff every 10% HP lost and a damage buff when there are fewer enemies on the field. So it helps negate the fact that the AoE loses damage the less enemies that are on the field. He deals splash damage on kill, and each kill gives him a 50% chance to cast the skill again for free. So he's a really good damage dealer. Next up we have Zhao Yun going into SS tier. So Zhao Yun deals vertical row damage and can get extra turns quite often. His extra turns buff his crit rate and damage for that turn as well, and when he drops to 30% HP, he gets another extra turn with an increased crit rate and lifesteal buffs. Looks like I caught him when he was blinking too. Lady Huang is next up, going into S tier. Her AoE has a chance to silence, which just shuts down enemy rage skills, as well as reduce their rage by 1 and make them take extra damage. She increases her chance to silence if the targets have more rage, and if they are silent, she'll stun them instead, which is awesome. Her basic attacks can also silence enemies. Xiao Qiao is next up, going into Triple S tier. She has an AoE that has a chance to dispel 1 buff per target and a chance to reduce enemy rage by 1. Whenever an ally gains extra rage, she gives a chance to increase it by 1, and she has a chance to dispel buffs gained by enemies, which will also damage them, and has a chance to reduce their rage by 1. So she's given our team extra rage and reducing enemy team rage, which is really pivotal to the fights in this game. We have Zhou Yu going into the Burn Baby tier. Actually, that should be Burn Baby Burn. It's a reference to a song if you guys don't know. So his AoE has a 50% chance to apply burn, which is damage over time debuff obviously, but it also ignores defense. His basic attacks can also apply burn. He increases all burn damage while he's alive by 30%, which is pretty big. And whenever a burn deals damage, it can heal all allies. He can also apply a debuff that helps burn spread, and when an enemy with burn stacks dies, he'll transfer it to another enemy. He's a must-have for a burn team right now. Sun Si is going into the Burn Baby Burn tier. He is the main quintessential damage dealing burn unit. That was a bit of a word salad. His AoE has a chance to cast 3 times per turn, increasing the chance with each burned enemy. He gains a crit rate for each burn stack on an enemy, crit rate buff, and when allies inflict burns, Sun Si buffs his damage with Scourge. At 4 stacks of Scourge, he gets a massive crit damage buff, and at 8 stacks, his skills will heal him. But what you really want him for though is his ability to detonate burn stacks instantly, just dealing all the damage they have stacked up on that enemy, which is really good. Without him, you don't have a burn team. Next up we have Sun Shangxiang, I think that's how you pronounce it, going into SS tier. Her AoE can steal 1 rage from 2 enemies and give them to the 2 highest attack allies and then buff their attack as well. Her skills can also grant the ally up to 3 rage and can shut down enemies' basic and pursuit attacks. So again, taking away enemy rage, giving it to your allies, that's awesome. Yuan Shao is next up, going into SS tier. His AoE also buffs his attack, and it's a permanent buff. with his command buff, and he gets 5% damage buff per stack and can also recast the skill. He can get this buff whenever allies inflict debuffs or when an ally gets hurt, he'll buff both of them. So this buff can trigger basic attack pursuits at 7 stacks, and at 12 stacks it ignores 30% of the target's defense, which is quite a bit. Lu Bu, by far best unit in the game, top of triple S tier for sure. I'm going to rearrange these a bit at the end probably. Like Sun Cease would obviously be ahead of there. So stick around to the end, we're explaining the skills of each unit so you can see why they're ranked where they are, and I give a little bit of extra info on a lot of the units. So yeah, Lu Bu, definitely want to be using your faction summons on him. He's our current damage king. He doesn't have a rage skill, but instead each rage he has, his basic skill is a 10% damage buff up to 200%. He deals true damage after 4 basic attack, and he can pursue with a basic attack when his allies use a skill. He can gain rage whenever allies use skills as well, but what's really crazy about him is that when his rage is over 13, his basic attacks deal 50% damage to all other enemies. It just turns his massively damage boost basic attack into an AoE attack. So he's really good. You need to get this guy on your team. Jiao Chen, either at the bottom of SS or the top of S. Since Lu Bu's so great right now, I'm going to put her at the bottom of SS. She attacks 2 enemies and can charm them, which is a stun, and that also reduces their damage reduction. And if it fails, it reduces their rage and attack instead. Can also charm a random enemy when the battle starts, and she increases Lu Bu's damage by 10%, and whenever a charm lands, he's going to pursue with a basic attack. So it's going to give a lot of extra damage to Lu Bu. There's just some other important units, but Jiao Chen is definitely up there. So she's a pretty good sidekick for Lu Bu. Next up we have Kai Wenji going into S tier. She attacks the front row and grants all allies a shield for 2 turns, which also transfers all debuffs from 2 allies onto her. Each of her attacks will transfer a debuff from her to the enemy and reduce their defense. And when she transfers a debuff from an ally to her, also restores 1 rage and then buffs their attack. Cao Cao is heading to SS tier. His AoE can restore 1 rage to all allies, and he also restores rage when allies are hit with a debuff and when the ally casts a skill. His skill grants an invincible shield to the ally with the lowest HP, and he gets a damage reduction buff when he gains rage outside of his turn. Invincible shields are absolutely crazy good in this game, so any unyielding or invincible effects are just really good. Guan Yu's up next, going into SS tier. He has a high damage single target skill that casts a basic attack if he kills the enemy. He can pursue when allies use basic attacks and can counter when attacked. He also reduces enemy defense and buffs his crit rate, and then when he does crit, it deals extra damage. Dian Wei's up next, going into A tier. He has an AoE which makes himself take 20% more damage, and it cannot be dispelled. He does cleanse debuffs, although he can't cleanse that one, but when he does cleanse debuffs, he'll increase his damage. He can also cast his skill twice, and any kills give him an extra turn with increased crit rate and crit damage. Just nothing special about this guy though. Next up we have Lady Zen going into S tier. She heals 3 allies and grants them Sanctum, which will negate their next debuff received, which will also heal them, and after 4 debuff removals, she buffs damage for the highest attack ally. At the start of each turn, she can apply this to every ally. She also buffs Wei, Immortal, and Holy heroes with damage, MIT, which is hit. I don't know why it's called MIT, and crit rate. Right now, there's probably not a lot of people running a burn team. You do have to get a lot of units for a burn team. So if you're fighting a burn team, she's obviously going to be much better, like SS rank. Because she can negate those burns. But as of right now, just in general gameplay, she's not that great. Next up we have Liu Bei going into SS tier. He heals all allies and grants them a shield and then buffs their hit, or their MIT. When the shield breaks, they perform a basic attack and then also get healed. If it expires, it's converted into HP. When allies' HP drops below 30% for the first time, they'll get an extra shield and receive more healing while it's active. And then he also buffs Shu, Immortal, and Holy heroes with damage buff, defense buff, and hit buff. Ma Chao's going into SS tier. He attacks an enemy vertical row and can reduce their rage by 1. His basic attacks can also reduce rage, and he can do this basic attack when enemies restore rage, as well as do it again if they have 3 or more rage after the first attack, so he's doing a lot of extra attacks. He also deals more damage depending on the target's rage, and if they have less than 3 rage, he can rage ban them. So Zhang Fei's up next, going into triple S tier. He attacks front row and can taunt enemies as well as the highest attack enemy. It also gives an invincible shield to the 2 lowest HP allies per turn, and we said those are really good. He also reduces damage by 20% if it's more than 15% of his max HP, and he can reduce his attacker's rage. When he dies the first time, he'll instead survive, gaining unyielding, plus he'll get a lifesteal plus additional healing per hit, so he can keep himself alive much longer than other people. But it's that invincible shield that's really, really good. He's going to be part of the survivability team because there is a way to play off that invincible shield to kind of shunt some damage over to somebody with an invincible shield, but it doesn't matter because they have invincible shield. So keep an eye out for that video. I'll try to make that the first one actually. Next up, Guan Yinping going into A tier. She has an AoE that consumes all her rage while dealing more damage for more rage consumed. She's probably better than these guys actually. Then she stuns herself for 1 turn if she kills somebody. If she doesn't kill anybody, it stuns her for 2 turns. She also deals more damage to enemies over 50% HP. She's really, really useful like right at the early beginnings of the game, and she's gonna fall off hard in like a week or so. But she can deal a lot of damage, it's just that she's out of the battle for 2 turns if she doesn't kill anybody, which is a big drawback. Next up, Lu Xun would go into Triple S because of his stuns, but he really performs best on a burn team, so I'm gonna put him in Burn Baby Burn. He has an AoE that has a chance to stun, and the chance is increased for each burn stack. It also inflicts burns if the target isn't burned yet. He can pursue when targets get 3 stacks of burn, and he restores 1 rage. He also restores 1 rage if his AoE stuns fewer than 3 enemies, and the stun chance for the next skill is going to be increased if that happens. He can also extend the length of burns. He's just a must-have for a burn team to apply burns, and his stuns are just fantastic. Really shuts down the enemy team. Sun Quan's also going into Burn Baby Burn. Attacks enemy front row and has a chance to burn them for 2 turns. He can also burn attackers for 2 turns when he's hit. He gets a damage reduction whenever allies burn enemies, and each time an enemy is burned, he and another ally get a small heal. It's not that much, but it's enough to count for something. When he dies, he burns all enemies and heals all allies. He's one of the tanks in the game that you can use specifically for the burn team, just to apply more burns. The more burns you get up, the more damage Sun Tzu's gonna be doing, because he's where like all the damage is gonna be coming from mostly. Zhuge Liang is going into Triple S tier. He has an AoE heal and attack buff that can restore 1 rage. It also buffs crit rate and crit damage and can be cast twice, with the second cast being less effective. I think it's only half the amount, but it's still crazy. His skill can also increase rage regeneration, which is really, really good. You need a lot of rage, especially for Lu Bu. You need tons of rage. So units like Chao Kiao and who is it? Sun Xiang. Units that steal enemy rage and give your team rage, or just generate rage for your team, are going to be vital for the Lu Bu team. Plus, taking away rage from the enemy team if they have Lu Bu, that's really, really good. Even if they don't have Lu Bu, still really good. Taishi C's going into A tier, not Burn Baby Burn. Attacks deal vertical row damage, and he gains a shield for 2 turns. When attacked, he gets a defense buff, and if attacked at least twice in a turn, he reduces the damage taken by the attacks later on after that second one. He stuns the enemy and gains a shield when his HP drops below 40%. Doesn't really do too much. And he doesn't do burns, so there's no really reason to use him. Da Qiao is going into S tier. She heals all allies and gives them a heal over time buff and buffs their dodge, and whenever they dodge an attack, they'll get healed. When her HP drops below 30%, she gets a dodge buff and then restores HP when she dodges. She also buffs Wu, Immortal, and Holy units with damage, defense, and crit rate buffs. Oh, I just realized I didn't put her in S tier. There we go. So Dongzhou is going into SS tier. Just for now, he is going to fall off after we get better access to our fish, because there's going to be one in there that just reduces our damage like a lot. His AoE shields himself and the lowest HP ally while also taking 50% of their damage instead of them. So that's what I was talking about with the survivability team. There's going to be a whole team built around this guy. When either one of them die, they'll instead survive and become invincible for 1 turn, and this can happen once every 2 turns, which is a lot. Then when the damage share ends, they're both going to get healed. So he's going to massively increase the survivability of a unit, which is really good. Got Jiaju going into A tier. He has an AoE that can poison enemies, and then he can also poison them with basic attacks. Poison reduces healing received for enemies and will heal allies when the enemy is healed. Also, when the enemy is healed, all poison will detonate and can inflict a heal ban on them. Healing is not going to play much of a role in the game right now. There's so little game functions out. We have a couple places where you can get invincible, but largely it's just a damage race and a power race at this point in the game. As you notice, you probably can't beat certain trials unless you're over the power that they say, and that's because there's really not much else contributing to the fight right now. unless you get lucky with stuns or stuff like that. There's going to be stuff coming out in the future that is really going to change the fight outcomes, and you're going to be able to beat people way higher power than you, or like different trials, or if they have bad team comps, then you can beat them. Next up, we got Zhu Rong going into SS tier. She attacks enemy front row and can inflict Onslaught, which is a damage over time debuff. She can also inflict it when attacked as well, and Onslaught will also reduce enemy damage reduction while granting herself a shield. It would also steal some of the defense and can transfer a debuff from an enemy to an enemy with Onslaught, kind of spreading the debuffs around. And then she can steal up to 90% of an enemy's defense, which is nuts. She can add it onto herself up to 150% of her original defense. Although right now, that's not going to do much, because it's percent based. So as the enemies get stronger and stronger, she's gonna steal more and more defense from them. Next up, we got Hua Tuo going into SS tier, probably closer to the top. She heals 3 allies and cleanses 1 debuff from them. She can heal an ally at the start of the turn, and if she cleanses more than 4 debuffs in a turn, she's gonna heal all allies again. The big thing with her though is she can revive an ally when they die. Just 1 ally per battle, but still, that's like the only revive function we have in the game at this point. And finally, we have Lu Lingyi going into S tier. She attacks 3 random enemies and gives them a debuff, which is either they deal 25% less damage, take 25% more damage, can't use basic attacks, or they just get stunned. She can restore rage when she inflicts a debuff, and allies deal more damage to debuff units. She also buffs War, Immortal, and Holy heroes with attack, defense, and crit rate. She's probably more towards the top, yeah, definitely the top of S tier, maybe the bottom of SS. It's just you can't choose which debuffs they're gonna get, unfortunately. One of them is really good, the stun, they can't do anything. No basic attacks, they might not even use a basic attack that turn, they might be using the rage skill that turn. In that case, it does nothing. The 25% more or less damage is good, but not enough to make or break anything. So now keep in mind, all these rankings are for individual units. Well, besides the burn team, they kind of all got to go together, otherwise they're not going to be doing very much. Forgot to add this in when I was recording earlier, but I did a little bit of shuffling around, and this is the final tier list. Nobody changed tiers, I just reordered some of the tiers. So I will be coming out with teams, not team rankings. It's like I'm just gonna actually build 3 different teams for you guys. I'm still working on getting lots of the units. I have been absolutely shafted. I don't have Xiao Qiao, I don't have Zhong Fei, I don't have Zhu Jielong. I think I got 1 Zhang Lao and I have 1 Lu Bu. I don't know what's been going on. This is the worst luck. But yeah, so I'll have videos out for those 3 different units. And then remember to check out my affiliate code in the description below if you're interested. And let me know if you agree or disagree who you would change around on the rankings, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.